Last night was the Maastricht Debate, and it is for the Spitzenkandidaten, who are the lead candidates of their respective party groupings to hold the job of EU Commission President in the next 5 years. So it's very important to understand what they think. The whole debate was very interesting, so you should definitely check it out. And here I'll tell you a little bit about what was happening on climate. I'll put together some clips for you, and you can enjoy. Thank you. First, we have Nicholas Schmidt from Luxembourg. He comes from the Party of European Socialists, and he is from the S&D group. For some reason, they decided to have their group name different than their party name. I know it's very confusing, like everything in the EU.
Well, we are talking all the time about the big challenges Europe is facing. And the challenges are there about climate, about war, about cost of living, about technological changes. And these challenges finally impact the daily lives of Europeans. And that's why we need to give all Europeans the security, the feeling of security. You are the young generation, you're building your life. And what we owe you is to provide you the real security, a good job, a good environment, a good, secure Europe, fighting all those who want to destroy our democracy. That's what finally Social Democrats always have been. To give people the security, to give a good living standard, and also to make Europe strong. Strong in a world which has become much more dangerous.
We're going to skip over current Commission President Ursula von der Leyen from the European People's Party, the EPP group, because, well, we saw that what she does on climate is she put up a big European Green Deal and then allowed her own group and conservatives from further right and also business and industry to come in and basically hack and slash it to bits. So we don't really need to go into it. But we are going to go into the ID candidate, the Identity and Democracy, the far-right group. And this guy, Anders, has some takes.
Mr. Vistesen, you say climate policy has run wild, but how will you ensure that the EU will meet its climate goals?
I'm not going to. That's the simple fact of the matter. The EU policy is only doing one thing. It's shifting jobs out of Europe. It's costing our competitiveness towards Asia, towards the US. And it's making millions of Europeans experience a level of poverty and disenfranchisement with the political elite that is represented here today.
Now we have from the European Greens, Bas Eickhout. He's from the Netherlands, and he represents the green way of doing. So this is basically their topic, and I think he has a very good response.
The Greens have been very good at pressing for tough targets, but polling suggests that voters don't think that you are the right party to implement them. Why are people turning away from the Greens?
Well, I do think that the Green Deal is not complete yet. So I think also a lot of the young voters here still demand this climate urgency. I mean, in 2019, it was Ursula von der Leyen saying, I'm going to do my man on the moon project. Just imagine that JFK, after 4 years, would have said, well, maybe halfway to the moon is okay as well. You know, when we are doing climate action and deliver on climate neutrality, we need to invest in a new economy. We need to be competitive, but that means an investment program that Europe is lacking. That means also investments in housing to make sure that you can live in clean, affordable houses. This means investing in public transport so that we do have finally real clean transport. The Green Deal was a good start, but we are only at the beginning of this marathon.
We're also going to skip over Valuru. He comes from a very minor party, and honestly, his take wasn't that good. We're also going to skip over Marie Agnes Strack-Zimmermann because, honestly, we all know what neoliberal policies are like. Next up is Walter Bayer, and he is from Austria, and he represents the party of the European left. And I really like what he says, but also, just for caveat so you know, he has an atrocious Ukraine policy, so
these huge movements of young people who are going on the streets for defending the climate. I think we must see clearly where the causes of this degradation of our climate lies. 1% of the population, the rich ones, are accountable for 50% of the pollution. So hold them responsible. Who make the mess must clean it up. And it's obvious we need more money, but with austerity politics, which now is about to be introduced with the reanimation of the Stability and Growth Pact, we will never raise the money necessary. So take the money where it is, tax the wealthy, close down the tax havens, and make the wealthy pay.
Thank you.
And finally, we have Melis Rosberg, and she is the youngest candidate running from the European Free Alliance. This is a party that represents minority parties from across Europe. And I think she's got some fiery words you want to listen to.
Mrs. Rosberg, the former European Central Bank President Mario Draghi, he said much more huge funds are needed to finance the green transition. Where would those funds come from, according to you?
Well, first of all, I would like to start that it makes me really, really, really angry that we in this round, in general, have to discuss if the Green Deal should be kept alive or if we actually going to follow what we agreed on. And I think it's an insult to all these young people, to me as well, that some people on the stage are actually saying that climate protection is not needed. You're playing with our future. You're playing with our hopes. Well,
Thank you. And now an answer to the question, please.
Yes, sorry. Well, I believe that we have a lot of potential in the region still. I don't see that the European Union is fully integrated. We want to revitalize regions and the outermost areas in the European Union, and in that way make sure that we get the full potential out of the single market, and that way also we'll have more resources to pay for climate change and climate protection.
I think it's quite clear that the Greens dominated this round, but I mean, Melis also came out there with some fire, and as a young person, I really felt it. But, you know, Nicholas Schmidt also did really well. He gave you exactly what you want to hear from a social democrat, something that isn't just like mealy-mouthed nothing. And Walter Bayer from the European left also provided the answers that you expect to hear. So they're not doing badly. It's just, you know, Boss obviously prepared really well for this debate. And that's clear in the audience poll they had after the debate. Boss, just the Greens right there, 45%, and then Ursula von der Leyen significantly lower at 31%. But polling shows that the far-right ID, the far-right ECR, and the EPP are dominating, with the conservative and far-right holding over 50% of the parliament going forward if we had the election today. And this is incredibly dangerous. This would be the most reactionary period of the EU ever. And if we don't want that for our future, if we don't want to spend the next 5 years with another Ursula von der Leyen EU Commission presidency, but this time backed by the far right, we need to get out and vote. I hope this was useful. You can make a change. Please repost this or no one will see it. Thank you and have a great day.